Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. The marquee will update shortly. We've got not Spencer. I think it's Matthew, based off of the playmat on Death and Taxes. And on the other side, we will soon find out. So Thalia coming down. Ben on Death and Taxes. And a Daze from Charlie on Infect. Daze stopping Thalia, one of the most important anti-combo cards, and while Infect doesn't need to play a lot of spells, it does rely on them being cheap, and Thalia certainly ruins that. Invigorate is significantly better when you're paying 0 mana. 1 extra mana, so much more. Rashad and Port tapping down this Taiga, and now an Inkmoth Nexus, which can also be pestered by this Port. Karakas, and now Stoneforge Mystic. And Umezawa's Jite is an absolute nightmare for Infect. Charlie, well aware of this, Force of Will, stopping the Stoneforge, which would be the most likely target. Batterskull is actually not stellar in this matchup, as the life gain is largely irrelevant. And those -1/-1 effects are just so brutal. Basically piling on counters, making it virtually impossible for a 1/1 creature to be able to stick around. Now we have Stifle saving the Glistener Elf, and the shields are down. Oh, a Rashad Port does stop this Inkmoth Nexus. So the shields are kind of down. Dreadhorde Arcanus. Well, that's an interesting addition to Infect we haven't seen to my knowledge. Actually, that Taiga should have definitely raised some eyebrows, as Charlie now has Glistener Elf and a pair of Inkmoth Nexuses. Dreadhorde Arcanus drawing the fire, leaving the Infect creature. A pair of Rashad Ports tapping down for Infect, for the Inkmoth Nexuses. But still, Charlie has the option of attacking with a single Infect creature. If he has some Pump and a Berserk, he will potentially steal this game right now. And Ben is likely going to be forced to block with his... Whoa! That was the first damage. I don't think Ben blocked there. I think you have to block. Invigorate Berserk gets there. Ben unwilling to trade his Skyclave for a... Alright, heading in to game 2. We'll see if Ben plays a little more conservatively here, or if he's just going to YOLO it and let the cards land where they do. We've got a turn 1 Aether Vial, solid start for Death and Taxes. They're going to be looking for an Aether Vial or a Mother of Runes on the first turn, both of which are going to make things a little bit awkward for Infect. The ability to bypass their counter magic is significant, as is putting a body on board that can potentially block opposing ground creatures. Of course, you do have Inkmoth Nexus in the air, but that is the most easily handled, as you have both Rashad Port and Wasteland from Death and Taxes to go after the Inkmoth Nexus. You do need to be careful about crop rotation in this matchup. There are definitely times where you feel like you're going to be safe, and then what did we just witness? Is that a Force of Vigor? Looked like a Berserk getting exiled. The only thing I can think of there would be a Force of Vigor. And now a Blighted Agent. I was looking to see if that was indeed Force of Vigor. I didn't actually catch what Stoneforge gut, but it is actually just being cast as Stoneforge can stay back. And now Umezawa's Jite getting hit. Oko from Infect. And I gotta wonder about the sequencing there. So if you don't put in the Jite and he has an Oko, you can put in Jite during the end step. Yeah, I don't know. Skyclave Apparition takes out the Blighted Agent. There are a lot of decisions in these matchups. Skyclave Apparition, one of the more powerful new cards. A food token created from Oko. Now, he doesn't have tremendous synergy with the rest of the strategy, but he's an incredibly strong card on his own, potentially giving you an entirely different way of winning. The Infect damage, not actually changing your opponent's life total, very relevant when we're talking about turning things into elks. And a Lightning Bolt, and this is just a wild build of Infect. Very, very different than what I've been seeing of the standard blue-green builds. A Lightning Bolt, totally unexpected. Not unexpected in Legacy. Certainly one of the more played cards in the format, but not really expected in an Infect build. Rishadan Port tapping down, stopping Inkmoth Nexus from coming in. And a food is made into an elk. Charlie coming prepared as the 3/3 elk upgrades printed out. And now Flicker Wisp. And that is going to get rid of the token. And another bolt. Oko, really quite the large threat. Now Flicker Wisp will eventually whittle him down. As the... I guess he can just elk the... I mean, you just elk all the things is probably where this is going to go. See what he can stay in front. Uh-oh. We've got a scale up, send, and absolutely have to block now. So scale up, threatening, potential lethal with an Invigorate. I mean, I guess you don't have to block. You could just soak it up, but man, that has already been punished once. Using removal against Infect is tricky. You generally need to do it on your main phase, as if you play it on your opponent's turn, there are multiple cards that not only pump the creature, but give it Shroud or Hexproof, making it really, really a just absolute blowout. Not only countering your removal, but potentially just costing you the game. Now we've got an elk on the ground, Spirit of the Labyrinth. It can trade with an elk. Stoneforge Mystic looks like it's going to step in front of Glistener Elf. Charlie is tapped out, so that is not how I would bluff that. And he doesn't have, he does not have the pump, so he is actually straight up bluffed an attack, second main. And now a Swords to Plowshares clears the other Infect creature. And these guys are playing fast and loose, letting the cards fly. A Flicker Wisp comes down, Oko getting hit. This is just chaos. Ben, though, able to tap down the Inkmoth Nexus, preventing the potential for a combo kill pretty effectively. Now, Spirit of the Labyrinth, who knows how much it's actually holding back. Dreadhorde Arcanist can trade with it, or Oko can get out of there. We've got an Invigorate saving the Dreadhorde Arcanist. These are not things that you will typically hear in commentary in Legacy. We got Invigorate, Saving, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and there's a ton of lightning bolts in the bin. Oh no. Dreadhorde Arcanist is just going to go on a killing spree here. This is going to be a really interesting way for this to all play out. Dreadhorde is just going to look like Superman if Ben doesn't have an answer. Mother of Runes. First things first, got to make sure these other lightning bolts actually connect. That -1/-1 counter on Stoneforge, meaning that Dreadhorde Arcanist cannot really be blocked. And this is just a crazy game. Crazy match. Flicker Wisp, thinking about it, turns sideways. Oko soaks up some damage, but he has so much loyalty, which is a little bit of a flavor fail. I mean, he does not look like a particularly loyal character. He seems like he would be out of there at the first sign of trouble, but that is not the case. Oko, just incredible amounts of loyalty. Trigger off of Dreadhorde. We're going to see another... No, actually just going to go for a Brainstorm. I'm surprised. I was expecting removal here, but Charlie's zigging where I would have zagged. We'll see how it works out for him. Just so many Elks likely to be coming into play. Ben's going to need like a Skyclave Apparition or something along those lines to get rid of this Oko, as it's going to be incredibly difficult with just a Flicker Wisp hitting for 3 at a turn. Oh, I'm very wrong. He's down to 3 loyalty. I thought he had 4 on him. Wow. All right. Yeah, this is chaos. Absolute chaos. I would have expected a elking of the Flicker Wisp if it was going to be able to come across for lethal. And now a Lightning Bolt targeting Thalia. However, Karakas is open, so she's able to be returned to hand. And we're on the damage plan now. Elks and Dreadhordes pushing through damage. I wouldn't be surprised if a Batterskull shows up at some point and completely swings this back in the other direction. This is totally chaotic. Charlie, I believe, is up a game. I did get up to help a customer. I hope I'm still in the right match. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Both players have potential devastating top decks. Flicker Wisp, a strong one. That's going to get rid of the Elk. Big tempo play. No. Force of Will, shutting it down. Charlie still able to interact. Now, he is tapped out, so if Ben wanted to ensure that Flicker Wisp resolved, he could have played Thalia, but instead making sure that the Inkmoth Nexus stays tapped. Elk and Dreadhorde. And a Ponder is able to be played off of Dreadhorde. Thalia. Yeah, I am not an expert with Death and Taxes or Infect. I've certainly won plenty of tournaments with both. But I probably would have, if there was no bolt in the other side, I would have really considered trying to get Thalia down. Charlie able to use that Ponder, find an Oko, land him, and now actually has a Force of Will for the Thalia. And this Oko now the bigger threat. Rashad Port's still able to stop the Inkmoth Nexus, but a pair of Elk and a Dreadhorde. Let's see what he triggers. Triggering Scale Up. That's fun. That's a bunch of extra damage. Is that lethal? I mean, I guess Stoneforge would be blocking were it lethal. Charlie brainstorming. Perhaps looking for a Berserk. Berserking Dreadhorde. I mean, that's how I want to see this end. All right, now we got a Blighted Agent. So we've got the damage train, and we also have Oko going crazy. Did he just elk his Blighted Agent? I think he did. Blighted Agent, your Infect is not needed here. You are just showing up, punching in, doing some damage, and finishing this game using damage for Infect. Actually, not using poison to close out the second game. I really enjoyed that one. That might be one of my favorite matches that I've done so far this year. I'm going to say it. That's match of the year so far for me, I think. I can't think of one that I've enjoyed doing commentary for more. I hope you enjoyed that one as well. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.